Publican Jack Henderson from the Town Hall Hotel in the Newcastle suburb of Waratah joined the election debate today, putting a protest GST tax on all his drinks. A schooner of beer going from $2.20 to $2.40, a rum and coke jumping 30 cents to $3.30. And the drinkers weren't impressed.
I think we're paying enough now. I mean, enough's enough.
Jack Henderson says he's making a statement as a private businessman. He believes his clientele will be chased away with another tax.
The little Aussie battler who can only afford a few dollars for his drinks, it's hurting him in the pocket. No political party has influenced me in any way, and that's what I want to make clear.
The Office of Labor member for Newcastle, Alan Morris, admitted to helping promote the protest. Jack Henderson says if the GST comes in and payroll and sales taxes are dropped, his drink prices will still rise on average up to 10%. The Liberal Party says prices will rise just 3%. The Town Hall Hotel GST will stay just for tonight. Any extra profits will be donated to NBN's telethon. Peter Ryan, NBN News. Mining company Commercial Minerals had applied to explore a 60-kilometre square zone near Paterson, looking for zeolite, a pink rock used in agricultural fertilisers. Locals formed a protest group and ran 3 public meetings, demanding the government stop any threat of open-cut mining. Now, Minister for Natural Resources Ian Causley has put the exploration licence on hold, saying he wants to meet with locals in 2 weeks to discuss the issue. The Minister has not said mining will be stopped. A spokesman from Commercial Minerals says he believes in time the exploration licence will be issued. Tonight, Paterson residents are hopeful their land will remain untouched. Head of the university's new law course, Professor Neil Rees, went through some court procedure with his students. Learning here will not just mean studying books, but studying actions as well.
It will give them the opportunity over the 4 or 5 years that they spend with us to develop advocacy skills and learn courtroom technique.
The courtroom was funded by local solicitors, part of the university's program to keep in touch with the legal fraternity. Throughout the course, students will be based in Hunter's solicitors' offices, picking up first-hand experience of the profession. Students will also be brought in from other courses, getting as close to real-life courtroom situations as possible.
I've already had a number of discussions with the head of the drama department, and we hope that a few of the drama students will be more than happy to come along and play police officers and accused people in criminal cases and witnesses and independent bystanders and all that sort of thing.
Peter Ryan, NBN News. It's been nearly 3 weeks since the rescue helicopter crashed in the Barrington Tops after clipping power lines. It's expected the twin-engine chopper will be written off. A search for a replacement came up with this single-engine Squirrel, but it has restricted capabilities.
It hasn't got a hoist, can only take 1 patient.
Now a new twin-engine Bell 212 chopper similar to this one has been found in Perth. It has a hoist, room for 2 patients and nightlight capabilities. The lease of the Bell will give the region the same service it had before the crash. But nothing in the helicopter industry comes cheap. The old Squirrel helicopter costs $16,000 a month to lease. This new chopper, $34,000.
It is such a small industry and a very expensive industry, but that's our responsibility and that's what we've got to do.
The new chopper will be flown over from Western Australia this week. Alan McMahon believes it will probably be leased for about 6 months before the service can buy a permanent replacement. Peter Ryan, NBN News.
Residents of First Street first realised something was wrong when cracks began appearing around 3 o'clock. The torrent increased quickly, overflowing the gutters and inundating front gardens. Before long, a hole large enough to swallow this minibus had been carved in the bitumen. And that wasn't the worst of it. The Lake Macquarie Council truck, which went to the rescue, suffered the same fate.
Just like quicksand, really. Just gets going. Straight out of sight.
The Water Corporation shut down the main, interrupting the supply to the area and leaving even the council chambers without a drop. The corporation says the large pipe burst because the recent spate of hot weather had caused movement of the ground.
It's just one of those unfortunate things, and it does create a major problem for us in this situation because we've got major road restorations and so on to do.
Insurance assessors are checking on any damage to surrounding properties, along with help from a few of the locals surveying the scene from the safety of a nearby pub. Temporary repairs to the main took more than an hour, but it will be later tonight before the Water Corporation has managed to complete the job.
Melbourne company Amacon won the right to build the Anzac frigates in 1989 because its tender was cheaper than the Newcastle bid. Throughout the tendering process, Amacon promised Newcastle couldn't lose, giving assurances the city would build 5 of the ships, creating 1,200 jobs. The federal government also promised Newcastle a major share of the work, but that hasn't been forthcoming. In fact, to date, all the Hunter has received is $4 million in work at Comsteel, and it's believed most of the major contracts have been awarded. Amacon has continually stressed that Newcastle companies haven't been competitive in the tenders they've put in. Chamber of Manufacturers manager Jeff Latham believes that if Newcastle can't compete, it can't expect to get the work.
But I think that Amacon is calling the tune, and if the bottom line is that we need to meet their prices, then we have to do that in order to be successful.
Mr Latham says it's time Newcastle stopped whining about the frigate loss and got on with the job.
I don't think that carrying on about the frigates is going to do much, because I believe that all the major subcontracts have been let, and most of the second tier contracts have also been let. We've just got to get on to the next lot of projects and try and learn some lessons from the frigates.
Jodie McKay, NBN News.
Freight rail has undergone a program of restructuring. Over the last 5 years, 2,000 jobs have been axed. Now another 1,500 are about to go. Part of the reason is because the new National Rail Corporation will take over all of Freight Rail's operations on interstate routes. 750 jobs will go from Freight Rail's North Coast line between Maitland and Brisbane. They'll be phased out over the next 3 years. Regional Manager Bruce Hall says employees of Freight Rail can apply for jobs with National Rail.
There's no transfer because National Rail have indicated they want to go out to open advertisement and selection.
Another 750 jobs will be lost from across Freight Rail's northern region.
With surplus staff, as we've done in the past 5 years, we'll have available to them the option of voluntary redundancy, redeployment, but we're not forcing anyone to redeploy to Sydney, with retraining if necessary, and nobody gets the sack.
This is part of the ongoing restructuring of the service aimed at making it a profitable entity. Jane Anderson, NBN News.
Nearly every Australian junior soccer player dreams of playing in the FA Cup, but a competition started in Newcastle is just about its rival for size. The Bill Turner Cup started its humble beginnings in 1979 with just a handful of teams. It's now grown to 520, just 40 short of the FA Cup.
I had a dream, but I must confess I'm delighted that it has come as far as it is, though.
The competition is open to all schools for boys and girls aged 15 years and under. This year, teams from as far afield as Bundaberg, Broken Hill and Victoria have entered.
The kids are able to get out, and these are players, some of them who never get the opportunity to meet players from other schools, to see how they rate with them. And there's some fine talent, particularly in the country areas, that we never see otherwise.
More than 9,000 children are playing this year, and all of them will have completed the first round by Easter. They then play off other areas until the 4 winning teams are brought to Lake Macquarie for the finals in September.
They like this idea of if they reach the finals, they can come down to Newcastle, which for some cases, for people in Brisbane, is a 4-day trip, so it's a real excursion, a real holiday from school, and at the same time they can do something enjoyable, such as have a game of soccer.
Part of that attraction is the players are treated like celebrities, staying in motels and meeting heads of local government. Darren Curtis, NBN News.
Wayne Day and Bob Carroll left the studios of TCN 9 on Wednesday. They'll arrive at NBN tomorrow afternoon. They're walking to raise money for the telethon. 28-year-old Wayne from Kays Beach had a brain tumour removed in 1987. He says he owes his life to the treatment he received, and that keeps him walking.
This is my way of saying thank you for, only for cancer research, and I would not be here today.
Wayne and Bob are supported by Cole Reeves and Claire Archer. A drink and the odd Band-Aid and the walkers are off again. The men will begin at Swansea tomorrow morning. Already they've raised many thousands of dollars.
So far it's looking real good, and the people have been, I can't say it enough, they've been very supportive, and I think we'll come up with a surprise tomorrow.
Now classified by the Civil Aviation Authority as weight shift aircraft and better known by their pilots as trikes, these 600cc powered hang gliders are out to lift their image.
They have the safest record in sport aviation for flying. In the amount of hours that they fly, the accidents are very, very minimal.
In the past 10 years there have been 5 fatalities in the craft, most put down to untrained pilot error. Now a rulebook has been written and about 50 instructors from all over Australia, along with their trikes, are attending a safety seminar at Rutherford.
The aim of the seminar is to promote safer airmanship by having approved instructors to carry out the training of new ab initio pilots.
There are lectures as well as flying time. Many of the trikes are fitted with navigational equipment and radios and share the same restrictions as other aircraft. But for around $20,000, enthusiasts say they offer a lot more freedom.
You can go where you like, up to 5,000 feet, and you can have a lot of fun. Being a 2-seater, you can take your friend, and basically it's freedom. It's nice to get away from the office or your work and do something that you enjoy at a minimal expense.
The Duke of Gloucester received a warm welcome when he visited St Cecilia's School at Wyong this morning. Prince Richard is the Grand Prior of the Order of St John. He was appointed to the position by the Queen in 1974. He's been in Australia for the last week taking a look at the operations of St John Ambulance. Today he was shown another community facet of the organisation, their literacy program, where volunteers are trained to help children having difficulty at school. The program is also run in Newcastle and will soon be introduced in Tamworth and Port Macquarie.
We recruit volunteers from the local community. We train them in literacy and in self-esteem, and when we match them one-to-one with children in participating schools, and they then go and work one-to-one with those children for an hour each week.
The Duke's visit to the Central Coast was brief, yet it's one these students won't forget.
Telethon. Like coal and steel and the Knights, it's a word that's become a part of the hunter. But from tonight, this television event will reflect the generosity of viewers throughout northern New South Wales as NBN launches its 10th telethon in aid of cancer sufferers.
So Julie, this is the calm before the telethon storm. What's it going to be like here in 2 hours' time?
Well, I don't know about the calm before the storm, Scott, because it hasn't been calm all day, but in 2 hours' time this place is going to be alive. We have 2 studios operating for telethon. We have the panel going to be operating over here. Down in this section down here, this is where all the entertainment will be, and of course over here we have our band, and this studio will be rocking, absolutely rocking. Down in our other studio, Studio C, is the phone room. We're going to have 60 phones going the whole time, we hope. The phones will be ringing, and so there's going to be plenty happening.
To make a donation, viewers in the 049 area code can phone 297722. For all other areas, phone 008 817 815. And those phone calls made during the 24-hour telecast will be free.
The Australian retail tyre industry is worth $1 billion. It's highly profitable for some and highly competitive. There are 12,000 outlets, but only 1,000 of these make healthy profits. John Stanton, an economist at the University of Newcastle, has just finished a 2-year study into what shapes the tyre market. 2 big companies, South Pacific and Bridgestone, control 75%. He says this results in problems for smaller operators.
The main thing we found was essentially that the big firms were able to dictate the terms on which the small firms compete. And also when firms like chains, which are independent, get to a certain size, they tend to get taken over by the big firms.
The study revealed that operators linked to major suppliers are in a better position than smaller independent proprietors. John Stanton says smaller companies should form more effective lobby groups, and a solution may be to look elsewhere for supplies.
If they can't do it with the Australian producers, they should look to links with large importers, and that's probably the best way to go.
Is that the best way for the Australian economy, though?
Well, if you're a small business trying to survive, you're not really looking at that aspect, are you? You're looking at your bottom line, whether you're making losses or profits.
The study will be presented at a national conference in May. Melinda Smith, NBN News. Voters made their way to one of more than 280 polling booths scattered across the region yesterday. After first preference votes were tallied last night, it was clear the Labor Party had won most seats. In the seat of Newcastle, Alan Morris held 57% of votes, the Liberals' Glenn Turner scoring 27%. Eric Fitzgibbon was returned to the seat of Hunter with nearly 38,000 votes. A solid win for Federal Transport Minister Bob Brown, retaining his seat of Charlton. In Shortland, sitting member Peter Peter Morris was returned with 62% of the votes, but the eyes of political analysts were set on the marginal seat of Paterson, Labor's Bob Horne winning with a 3.5% swing. After weeks of campaigning, today was spent celebrating with wife Jan and daughters Melissa and Meredith. Phone calls of congratulations flooded in. Tipped to be the litmus test, was the result a surprising one?
No, I'm not. We felt confident for the past month that we were going to win it.
While not giving all the credit to the GST, Mr Horne says the swell against it helped secure a Labor Party victory. He plans to set up camp in Maitland and is already preparing for battle.
Environment, roads, rail, health services, we must update and improve Medicare.
Melinda Smith, NBN News.
At this time, a lot of you are experiencing your first NBN telethon. Boy, are you in for a treat.
8:30 Friday night and Telethon 93 began with the help of stars and hundreds of volunteers working behind the scenes. For the next 24 hours, hundreds of thousands of calls would be taken as people from across the regions dug deep to help fight cancer.
G'day everybody and welcome to Coffs Harbour City Centre Mall. I'm Ian Cameron.
Hello, I'm Selena Buresti from NBN's Taree Port Macquarie office.
By midnight, the $1 million mark was reached, the achievement spurring on the cast of thousands.
Truer words applicable than that today. Now, I would now like to pass back for the final figure. Has it passed the 2 million yet?
Has it yet? Ladies and gentlemen, we have great pleasure in announcing that we have, in fact, hit the $2 million mark.
We'd like to thank everybody and thank the workers. The workers here were just tremendous, and the sponsors. The Commonwealth Bank is taking the money, or they can post it into NBN. But please, if they can get their money in once they've pledged it, if they can get it straight in.
We know what street?
This is the railway yards, Mr. Searage. Keep. Just each way.